How you doing, Craig?
Good, good.
I know you're doing this new project, Green Zilla, and so I thought maybe we could actually talk and dig a little bit deeper
All right, good.
on what you're doing.
All right, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Elaine connected me um, with you in the Facebook group, and I really like the message. It's around being positive and having a positive influence on the environment around you. So,
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, and so many discussion groups can get kind of not so positive. So it's great to have that focus on, hey, let's talk about something positive happened during your day or whatever it may be. So
right, and we kind of tend to get more of whatever we're thinking about or talking about. So everybody's got the bad stuff that happens, and I certainly have things that I can complain about, but so does everybody, right? Well, thanks for sitting down. I just wanted to, the whole purpose of this, but I just wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper on, the Green Zilla challenge coming up here next week. And then, just about who you are in Greenswell in general. And so I guess, maybe to start out, you could just talk a little bit about this virtual challenge that you have coming up starting on Monday, right?
yeah. So well, as you know, and many people know, the mass gathering events, the running events, the triathlon events, etc. Those are been pretty much canceled due to COVID-19 pandemic right now through the end of July. So at least at the local level and probably most of the regional level, there's no events happening right now. So there's various running challenges and virtual runs happening, etc. My background is a little more triathlon based, even though I do more running. I train, I do CrossFit with Elaine. That's how we got connected.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's way stronger than me, but we need to edit that out. But,
yeah. That'll get too big, right?
And so was trying to think of, with events being canceled, trying to think of something that, would bring the community together, keep us motivated, be different than, kind of another virtual kind of event. And so I came up with this Green Zilla swim, bike, run anywhere challenge. And, Greenswell doesn't really excite the beast mode. It's because of the name. And so, I came up with Green Zilla with the kind of a Godzilla looking character and trying to create a little more, that would represent a little bit more of a challenge from a branding standpoint. And so, yeah, pretty excited. We're kicking this off June 1st through 30th. And it consists of 15 challenges. You can do them at any point in time in any order. And there's 3 different levels, sprint level, Olympic level, and iron level. So each level is progressively harder. You can mix and match. There's no rules. Like I say, the only one rule is I want you to have fun and be motivated. So there's no rules. You can bounce around to the workouts, whatever you want to do. And so you can do them anytime. So that's June 1st through 30th. And what was really cool was I actually reached out to triathlon coaches, running coaches, personal trainers, some CrossFit coaches as well, and said, hey, you know what? This is what I'm trying to develop, something kind of unique. It's not just swim, bike, and run. It's just not swim or run or bike. It actually has some functional exercises in there as well, mixed in. And so we came up with some pretty cool challenges for people to do. So
when Elaine invited me to check it out and went to the website, and I was really excited, and I intend on registering as well. But it's a lot of the stuff that I like to do, which I like to do a lot of body weight type stuff. So like bear crawls are always in my regimen. I mean, I saw you got backwards bear crawls on there.
Yeah, that's hard.
I've never done those. Those will crush your soul.
Yeah.
But they're so good, and the burpees, and then just mixing it up. I am glad it got a little warmer for the swims.
Yeah.
when it was 40 degrees and rainy a couple weeks ago, I was thinking, oh man, these swims are going to be a little rough. But
Yeah, the thought was, with especially open June tends to be kind of what we call open water season. So you can go up to Alum Creek and swim along the beach
yeah,
in the swim zone. And I heard the water temperature is like mid 60s, so it's a little nippy, a little cold, but you know what? You'll warm up quickly. That's all I gotta say.
yeah. We've been going up there with my kids since
Oh, awesome.
you can't find a pool. So we were up there yesterday and the day before, and just talked to my wife, and they're headed up there again right now. So
Yeah. And so there are some pools that are open. I think many of the outdoor pools have been closed for the summer, but I do know some other like Wise and other places that the indoor
okay,
is actually open. So, but here's the thing that's really neat about it is you don't have to, I call it scaling. So you don't have to swim. You can sub out a run portion. So if there's a workout that says swim, bike, run, you can sub out, instead of, if you're not a swimmer, you can do the run. There's another run you can add to it. So.
right. And it looked like, I didn't look through every workout, but most of them I looked at, you really don't need any equipment, right? I mean, it's mostly body weight, or maybe a bike is about the most.
A bike and a set of running shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So it's meant to be, try to, I try to just eliminate any excuse for anybody who say, I can't do this. Well, let's talk about why you can't do this. Well,
right.
I have this. Well, you don't need that necessarily. So I try to make it as easy as possible for people to participate. And you don't have to run. You can walk. You don't have to swim. You can run. And there's different options. So, if you can't do regular push-ups, do them from your knees.
Right.
It's really about challenging yourself, motivating yourself. And I think to go along with the messaging with the group here is there's a positive feeling when you set out to accomplish something through a challenge, and you're like, wow, I've done something I've never been able to do before. Or I didn't think I could ever do that, and I accomplished that. There's just a positive well-being that's developed.
Oh, it's so empowering, isn't it?
Yeah.
You set out to do something, and then you accomplish it, and then all of a sudden you get this good chemicals that are released in your body, and you realize, man, I can do so much more. I'm much more capable than what I ever thought. And what am I going to do next?
Right.
And so I think this, hopefully, I mean, I'm sure it's your intent that this sort of event would be like a springboard for people. I mean, everybody's talking about health right now, and I was just talking to the guy I was just meeting. I said, we need to take it a step further, right? Instead of just saying, hey, let's wear a mask and keep everybody healthy. Well, why don't we start talking about the foods we put in our body, and staying, making sure we have our mobility and can use our bodies. Let's just take it that step further. We've got 34% obesity rate in the United States right now, and it's not the best example to be setting for our kids. And I think this is a good opportunity for people to hit that hard reset, and maybe the Green Zilla can be a good springboard to set that in motion. So how do you see, I guess, races and just training in general changing after this, the COVID thing?
That's a great question. It's kind of the big unknown,
Right.
What's going to happen going forward. I do think that you might see a shift at least in long endurance. I think people will move away from maybe longer endurance events and kind of shift towards shorter endurance events. And the reason is, I think I know for me personally, and for many of the athletes that I talk to, who kind of get caught up in that training cycle, between these months, and, some of the personal, the family things and other activities, from the personal satisfaction standpoint, take kind of a back seat. And I think people are realizing that, hey, you know what, I don't need to go out and do these long events to get the satisfaction. I can do the shorter events and still have time to spend with my family.
Right.
And so I see just a better balance that's happening. I do think people will also think about, hey, maybe I don't do, 5 to 6 events per year. I do, just 2 or 3. So
Right. You got somebody, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, we got a little interruption here. So sorry.
What's up, dude?
I'm gonna interview buddy. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's a product of working from home.
If I were at my house, they would be on my back right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious. Like, you guys, Greenswell you guys have been doing events for a while, it seems like, and putting them on. And I was just thinking about motivation and kind of this whole thing right now. So I used to go to the gym a lot, but when they were open, right? And not because any of the exercises I needed to do that I couldn't do outside of the gym, but it was like a sense of motivation, right? There were people around, everybody's working hard. And I'm just wondering what in your mind, Craig, how can people best stay motivated when they don't have access to their gym, or maybe their CrossFit community? How do they stay motivated?
Well, I think the motivation has to come from within, and I think it all comes down to is the internal motivation, setting a goal. I've always been very active and worked out and so forth, but I actually set a goal during the last 8 weeks or so that I was going to challenge myself to do some different things. I was going to try to reduce my processed foods.
Nice.
In order to maybe see if I could lose a little bit of weight or just change the shape a little bit of some things.
Yeah.
And so I think it just comes from inside. Set a goal and then put your mind to it, and don't allow anything to come between you and your goal, what your challenge is. But it has to come from within. One of the things you said that was very interesting, I was going to mention, I saw this interview or listened to this interview with Tom Brady. It was actually on the Howard Stern show. I don't know if you caught that or not, but he has kind of a whole body, mind, body, and soul kind of training. And he's not your traditional football player who just pumps weight. He does a lot of body weight activities, and he works on mobility and flexibility and so forth like that. And he eats,
pretty clean.
And he said something pretty interesting. He says that I live my life in terms of nutrition, everything, as if I was sick. Meaning I'm always, because you tend to get sick and then you eat better. So I need to eat better now because I'm sick. And so his philosophy is I'm always going to treat myself as if I'm sick. So I'm always going to eat well, take care of my body, take care of the mental health. And that way that allows me to be successful. And I thought that was a different approach.
That's really interesting, because you're right. Like, when something either diet or something bad's happening in your life, like, people will pray like, oh, like, if you believe in God, be like, dear God, like, if this just works out, I promise I'll do this.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I like that, what he's saying. So why not just act as if you're in this harrowing situation, this dire situation always. Right. And you could apply that anywhere in your life. I mean, that could be not only physical fitness, but mental and financial fitness, right?
Yeah.
Act as if you're down to your last $100 in your bank account. You're probably not going to make as many frivolous purchases.
Yeah, if you live like there's not another paycheck coming, you tend to spend a little differently, and so you actually create some financial comfort.
Right.
When times are kind of tough, you have that foundation, whether it be retirement savings or whatever it may be. But yeah, it was interesting. It was really, it was a fascinating interview. And it really is like, no wonder he's Tom Brady,
Yeah. That's cool. So just going back to motivation, if we could for a second. I mean, in putting on the events throughout, the course of your company, I mean, I'm sure you've come across all different types of people that, you know, have maybe set goals, and other people who have set goals and maybe not made them. Are there any commonalities between the people that set those goals and were able to follow through that you've been able to see?
That's a great question. I think the people who have set goals and who've been able to complete their goals are those individuals who have are like. That's a great question.
It's hard.
Yeah, you know, I can only put myself into their mindset, and I think the mindset is, and I always say this, it's especially in the racing format, it's always mind. It truly is mind and body. Your body may become fatigued in training. Your legs may be sore. You may be cardiovascular, like I'm just fatigued. But it's the mental part of it, the mental strength. So it's one thing to have the physical endurance, but you have to have the mental endurance to be like, hey, you know, I'm tired today, but I have a goal. I'm tired during the race. I just got off the bike or whatever it may be, or it's mile 10 of a half a marathon and I'm tired. I feel like walking or whatever it may be. And it's like, well, I only have 3 more miles. I can do 3 more miles. So
Yeah.
I think it's really a mindset, you know, self-talk within yourself, like, oh, you know, I can do this. I can do this, and have confidence. And so I think as I talk through it, I think it's a mindset. It's having confidence in yourself, and you know, raising the bar to continue to you know, push yourself to reach your goal. Just with anything in life, you know, you go to, I mean, why do you go to college? You know, you go to college in order to get a good job and to expand your opportunities, expand your income opportunities. Same thing with kind of a race kind of format or training kind of format. So.
Right. Yeah, no, that's, I think you're right. You know, are you familiar with David Goggins?
I have multiple people have told me I need to listen to him. Because podcast and motivational.
Well, the podcast, but his book is excellent to listen to because you get his you know, the words. It's him reading it. Well, it's him. Somebody else is reading it, and then in between the chapters, he's talking about his life. And he's, in short, he lost like 125 pounds in 3 months to get in to be a Marine, and he just always says that. He's all about mental toughness. He's like, you know, when your body says I want to quit, you got 60% left, you know? And yeah, I know what had worked for me in doing long races was almost playing little games with my mind, setting up, okay, I'm going to run to that next telephone pole, and then I'll see how I feel. Right. And then you get there and you're like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to run to the next one. And then you just keep like breaking it down into these small bite-sized things, and then all of a sudden you're there. But yeah, the mental thing is tough, you know, pushing through those last sets when you don't want to and you feel like you're tired. But the more you do that, the more it like keeps building on that snowball, you know, that's rolling downhill, and you get more momentum.
Right. I think it goes into, you know, kind of a positive approach to it as well. You know, if you look at it and say, oh, wow, I have 5 more miles to go, you know, I don't know if I can do 5 more miles. But if you look at it and say, well, I'm just going to run the mile that I'm in, you know? Yeah. You get done with that mile. It's like, well, I'm going to run the next mile that I'm in. And next thing you know, it's like, wow, I only have 1 mile left to go. I can do that. Or if you think about it from a training standpoint, say if there's a time factor involved in it, and if you look at it and say, wow, 5 minutes is a long time, but then you look at it and you kind of break it down into kind of simple goals. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do these burpees I can do 30. I can do 30 seconds more burpees. Oh, okay. I can do 20 more seconds. Okay, I can do 10. Okay,
Right.
I'm done. You know, so
Right.
you kind of break it down in that mindset, and just, you know, I think the hardest thing to do is once you stop and quit is to get back.
Yeah.
So you got, like you said, you got to have those little mind. You got to have the mindset. And you have to break things down into smaller, achievable goals.
Right. And then two, I know what works for me a lot as well as to, instead of saying, oh, I have to go do this, it's like, I get to go do this.
Yeah.
And so turn it on its head again, like, oh, I have to go run 5 miles in the rain. And it's like, no, I get to, like, I have the ability to use my body right now, and I'm going to go get to, you know, experience nature and be a kid again in the
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Unless you're Elaine always comments, it's like, oh, this reminds me of Scotland. It's raining. It's great.
He loves it.
Home. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, all right, good. That's a good answer.
Yeah. So what types of habits or routine do you personally have, Craig, to keep yourself fit?
Oh boy. So, you know, I strength train from a physical standpoint. I strength train and I run. I do try to, you know, watch what I eat, and I enjoy occasional snacks here and there. But yeah, so it's really my diet. It's maintaining my strength. I'm almost be 54 this year, and so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so kind of in that 50, young 50, and so you know, I use that as a goal as well, because I have a 6 and a 4 year. You saw, well, 7. You saw the 7-year-old come in, and so it's like, you know, I don't want to be on a cane when he graduates high school, and so so that's a motivational goal. The other thing too is I really focus on, I think this is so missed by so many people, is I really work hard on the mental health aspects of it, having emotional intelligence. You know, I've really spent a lot of time reading about emotional intelligence, because we all have things that we deal with, and often conflicts can be resolved if we first, you know, connect with them internally. Like, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Well, what's driving that? Once you kind of figure that out, then you can have a conversation with someone about maybe a situation. And so I think the mental health aspect of it is really important to life and to training and to relationships. So I train mental health, you know. So
Yeah. I would even venture to say a lot of, I know when I'm in a bad mood or just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, if I go and sweat and exercise 100% of those days, I'm going to feel better. Maybe I'm not back to like happy-go-lucky, but I am going to feel better by moving. And so, I mean, in my mind, working on physical health will help mental health just by nature.
It does. There's been plenty of time where, you know, there may be a problem that's creating some emotional energy within me, and go out for a run, you know, and once you're done with the run, the energy may be cleared, that negative energy may be cleared, or often I find a solution.
When you're running, right?
So a problem, it's like, oh, this is how I'm going to handle this. Or this is, you know, and it's not something that's, you know, really constructed. It's kind of, I think, through the whole connection between mind and body, solutions work themselves out. And I can't count the number of times where I've gone out for a run and had either a personal situation kind of solution come into my head, or a way of handling a problem, or a challenge, whatever it may be, work itself through through exercise.
Yeah, I'm the same. Not when I'm doing like a high intensity work. I did the burp the other day, and I was just thinking, I was like, man, I can't think about anything. I'm not thinking about anything right now other than the numbers I'm going. But when I'm just going out for a run, I tend to, that's when my most creative time is.
Yeah.
I think I synthesize a lot of information maybe I've been reading, and just, or maybe come up with a different way of looking at things that are helpful. So that's my experience with it. But I can't, when I'm doing burpees is not the time.
No. Yeah, you know, we should caveat that and say not high intensity, more to the zone 3 type of stuff where you're out running or you're out biking.
Right.
When you're doing burpees and so forth, I think all the oxygen leaves your brain.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, what are you, if you could like go back to, you know, the 30-year-old Craig and give yourself, you know, a couple fitness tips, what might those be?
Wow. You know, I actually think that when I was 30, I actually worked harder and played harder and ate better than probably I do over the last 5 years. So I can't really say go back to my 30-year-old self and say eat better, train better, or whatever. But what I would say is stop and enjoy the moment. I think when I kind of look back and it's, you know, there's certain stages in your life where you're like, okay, I want to hurry up and get my college degree. Okay, now I want to get this job. Now I got this job. Now I want to, you know, get this position, you know, make this income. Or, you know, now I'm doing this sprint triathlon. Now I want to do this Olympic triathlon. So you're always kind of pushing yourself, at least this is from my standpoint.
Yeah.
And you don't stop. And I wish I saw my 30-year-old self, I would tell him to stop, breathe, and just feel the blessings around him with family and friends, and don't take that for granted. That would be, I would say. So not so much training, but more about, or not so much about fitness, but more about just life in general.
Yeah, love it. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's something I think we all struggle with. I do. You know, you think, oh, when I do this, I'm gonna be able to do X, Y, Z, and then if you're always looking ahead, then you miss. I mean, especially with kids, you can miss those little sweet moments in between. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Yeah. So.
Well, awesome. Well, anything else that you want to say about the Green Zilla? How do people find out more information about it?
Sure. So you can go to Greenswell.com, which is GREENSWEL.com, the website. And there's a banner running across the top. You can see a little bit more about the challenges. You can actually see the challenges. One important thing is the challenge is free. So, you know, you don't have to pay, you don't have to sign up for anything or anything like that. So it is totally free. If you do want to, you know, like a shirt and a buff, we created a buff, you know, you then register, there is a fee for that. And actually part of that fee helps our organization since all of our events have been canceled. But yeah, go to greenswell.com and register. We actually created a Run Bike Run syndicate out there. It's a private Facebook group. You can join that, and you can be post your workouts, be motivated by your other athletes in their training, and so again, it's meant to be a positive communal experience. So
awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'm in good enough shape right now, but I'm going to try the iron level.
Okay.
I like to push myself, and barring not having enough time to do it, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, you can you can always although the iron's the goal, do all the iron goals, you could jump down into the smaller ones. So
right, if you don't have enough time a certain day, and
or if you're a super iron, you can do a challenge and the iron, kind of days and do all the whole path. And so I've had some say, can we do all 3 paths? I'm like, Yeah, but is there enough time in the month to do it?
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez, maybe 45 days or something, right?
I think those people are single with no kids. And so,
Yeah, it's hard. Well, we've been trying to incorporate our kids. When all this went down, we built a chin-up bar in our
oh,
backyard,
nice.
and I didn't want to we put 4x6s in the ground, which wouldn't be that sturdy, right? So we did it in an L, and I put a third post kind of out here, and so we have an adult pull-up bar and then a kid pull-up bar, and the kids have been they're 5 and 7,
Okay,
and they've
saves
been
money.
out there, hanging on the bar. They can't do pull-ups yet, but and then they've been doing burpees and everything. So I think that's a big upshot for us. Instead of like going to the gym, is having our kids see us working out
Yeah.
outside, and picking up a rock and doing exercises with it. I hope that sticks with them and sticks with other kids who have parents that are working out at home. So
Yeah, I think there's the old adage about nature and nurture, and I think children who see their parents active and working out will also carry that same activity and working out and take care of their physicalness, if you will, as they move into adults. Because we are products of our parents. And
right.
and I think we set the example, and you're setting the example for your children. And I know when I'm out in the garage doing burpees or doing air squats and doing whatever, my son will come out and he won't do them all. He won't do them necessarily right, but just the fact that he's there alongside me is, exponentially just makes it a much better workout experience for me. So
Totally. So one last question.
sure.
What are you most excited about in the next year that you're looking forward to? Maybe a race or kind of event that you got planned, or just something.
I'm actually looking. It's been a blessing in a way with the events not happening this summer. Spending more time with the family, because usually event season is can be a stressful time. I typically have an event every other weekend, so my weekends are clear now, and so I'm looking forward to. We're actually going to take a family vacation in June, and going to check out for about 2 weeks and
Nice.
unplug and relaxed and kind of tune out and just spend time with the family on a lake and enjoy it. So that's what I'm looking forward to right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, good for you
Yeah.
for making it happen, taking advantage of the time, right?
Yeah, and one of the things I've been talking to my wife about, this whole situation is it actually has caused me to kind of rethink, hey, do I really need to do 30 some events a year? Maybe just kind of look at the number of events and say, okay, these are the key events to focus on, and allow more time in the summer, especially to spend with family. And so that could be a positive outcome of all of this, is that, well, it would be a positive outcome of this.
Yeah. I think so too. I hope that we all, life is slowed down. I know in many regards, and I hope that kind of. I mean, just in my neighborhood, people I've never seen go for a walk.
Yeah.
Or going for a walk at 7 after dinner, and that's great. So hopefully that sticks around. And
yeah, I've never seen so many kids running
yeah,
that I have the last month and a half. And I'm looking outside my office window, and we live in a cul-de-sac, and I see kids multiple times a day come running down or doing loops. And these are probably 12 to 14-year-old kids, young adults, whatever, teenagers.
Yeah.
Are doing it. And I see a lot of people out walking their dog.
Yeah.
And so I think people are finding their own level of activity to get outside. And, you don't have to be a swim, bike, or runner. You can be a dog walker.
Right.
It's all
Right.
about getting out and being active. And so, yeah, it's great to see. It's great to see so many people. The parks. I've been to a couple parks, and the parks are just swamped with people. So
They
not
are.
really good about social distancing right now. So I've been staying away from the parks, but people have the same ideas, like getting out and being physically active. And so it's been
Well,
a
at
positive.
least
part
out
of
in
it.
the fresh air, I mean,
Yeah.
thought I couldn't find space. So, well,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, Craig, thank you so much for taking the time today. And I know it's kind of different to do this on Zoom for both of us, but
Yeah.
hey, we did it, right? We got it done.
We did it. So yeah, appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate Elaine kind of connecting us. That was
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can meet in person sometime.
yeah. Maybe Elaine could connect us and we can do one of those challenges. You can do the iron, I'll do the Olympic. And so
Yeah.
when you're done with the iron, I can give you a bottle of water or something.
Yeah, I might be doing the sprint by that time.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. Well, well, thanks again for taking the time.